Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Indeed, all praises to Allah. We praise Him and we thank Him and we ask forgiveness from Him for our evil of our own souls and our evil nafs. Whoever Allah guides will never be led astray, and whoever Allah leaves astray, no one can guide. And I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, He is one and has no partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His final messenger and slave. Indeed, the best speech is the speech of Allah, the Quran, and the best guidance is the guidance and example of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وإن الخير أمور عوازمها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. And the worst of matters are those which are innovated by the people. And every innovated matter is a transgression. And every transgression will lead us astray. And everything which leads us astray will eventually lead us to the fire. Na'udhu billah. قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد. Allah says in the Quran, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, be conscious of Allah, fear Allah, and worship Him the way He deserves to be worshipped, and do not die except as Muslims. وقال, and He says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. O you who believe, be conscious of Allah, fear Allah, and speak words of justice, speak the truth. He will then amend for you all your deeds and forgive you all your sins, and whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger has certainly attained a great and everlasting reward. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Dear brothers and sisters, given the recent turn of events, specifically what happened this week and what's happening over the last 300 days with the genocide in Palestine, I wanted to speak today about something which is relevant to the issues we have in the Ummah, which has happened in the past. One of the issues we unanimously unite on is that we have weak leadership. As Muslims, we have very weak leadership. We have very corrupt, unjust, oppressive leadership in the Muslim communities, in the Muslim countries. And something like this has happened in the past. And inshallah, we're going to discuss the relevance of what happened in the past, how that was resolved, and what are some of the lessons you and I can take home in our personal lives to hopefully, inshallah, bring about a change. The lesson I want to share is among the earliest times of Islam. You see, during the time of the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anhu, who was the second rightly guided Khalifa, he was once walking with his helper in the streets at night when the sun has set, and he was walking in the streets. And this was a practice very unique to Umar radiallahu anhu. He used to love to just do his assessment of the state of the affairs of his people by himself. He didn't want to rely on reports. He actually wanted to see what's going on. So sometimes when everyone went to sleep, it was dark outside, he would just take a walk in the streets and listen to the conversation and see if there is anyone who's poor, who needs help. This was very routine of his. So one day he was walking with his helper and he overhears a conversation between a mother and a daughter. And the mother is telling the daughter that, listen, the milk we're going to sell tomorrow morning, the milk we're preparing to sell tomorrow morning, add some water in it. Just mix some water in this milk. And the daughter goes and she says, no. Have you not heard the command from the Khalifa who has forbidden the mixing of water and the selling of milk? And he has outlawed this practice. We cannot do this anymore. The mother goes and replies to the daughter and says, listen, it's dark. The Khalifa isn't here. Who's watching? Just do it. Just mix some water in the milk so we can make some extra money tomorrow morning. And the daughter replies and says, the Khalifa isn't here, he's not watching. But the Rabb of the Khalifa, Allah, is watching. He's all watching, all seeing, all hearing. So I'm not going to do this because this is forbidden. This is cheating. And of course, Umar radiallahu anh and his helper heard this conversation, and immediately Umar radiallahu anh asked the helper to go and find out about this girl. So the next morning, Umar radiallahu anh and the helper show up at the woman's house, at the mother's house, and knock at the door. And they ask to meet the girl. He doesn't confront the mother. He goes and he's like, I want to meet this girl. And he meets this girl and he sees that, she's single and she is a pious girl, and he has a conversation with her and immediately goes to his third son. Umar radiallahu anhu's first two sons were already married. He goes to Asim ibn Umar radiallahu anh, and he says that I have found a girl for you. She's a pious woman. You should marry her. And Asim radiallahu anh marries this woman. And the Umar radiallahu anh at that wedding makes a beautiful dua. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh makes a beautiful dua. He makes a dua and he says that he hopes that through this union this union will give birth to a just ruler who's going to rule justly all over the Muslims, all over Arabia and all over Muslims. This is a dua which is recorded in Abu al-Hakam. And how beautifully did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer that dua. This union gave birth to Layla bint Asim, who eventually gave birth to someone who is known as Umar al-Thani, or the sixth rightly guided Khalifa, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Now Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, his father Abdul Aziz was a governor during the Umayyad dynasty for 20 years in Egypt. He was stationed in Egypt. He was born, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was born in Medina, but his father had been relocated to Egypt. And he was the governor of Egypt for 20 years. So Umar ibn Abdul Aziz belonged to a very rich family. But unfortunately, after 70 years, after the death of Umar radiallahu anh, the Umayyad Khilafah had lost its ways. There was a lot of corruption in the Umayyad Khilafah and the dynasty. There were a lot of unjust practices going on. The state of the Muslim Ummah at that point was on a decline. Even though geographically, this was the peak Islam had ever reached, the way the affairs were being managed were very, very low, very, very poor. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he decided to stay away, and his family decided that they wanted to keep him away from politics, so they actually shipped him back to Medina. And he grew up in Medina becoming a student of ilm, student of knowledge. He was acquiring knowledge through his great uncles, like Abdullah ibn Umar and others, scholars. So he grew up in scholarship. He wanted to acquire knowledge, and he would travel between Egypt and Medina, but he was mainly acquiring knowledge during his time. When he grew up and he became at the age of 35, 36, the then Khalifa was about to pass away, and the norm was that when the Khalifa passed away, his children would take over. But he knew, who was his uncle, he knew that his children were not as righteous as Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, so he actually went and he offered the Khilafah to Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. And Umar ibn Abdul Aziz declined. He's like, I have no interest in politics. I want to become a scholar of Islam. Anyways, long story short, even though he did not want to take it, he was persuaded to take the Khilafah. And as soon as he accepted the Khilafah, one of the first things he did was he went and he spoke to the people this time he was in Syria, Damascus, and he said, "O people, the responsibility of the caliphate has been thrusted upon me without my desire or your consent. So you haven't chosen me, and I don't want it. If you choose to select someone else as the Khalifa, I will immediately step aside and support your decision." This was the honor of Umar bin Abdul Aziz. He knew that he wanted to make sure that people were comfortable with his appointment. And of course, because of the reputation of Umar bin Abdul Aziz, people decided to support him. Now he, unfortunately, only had 2.5 years of governance. After 2.5 years, at the age of 40, he was assassinated. But wallahi, if you study those 2.5 years, you could write volumes and volumes of books, and of course they've been written already, about how much he was able to accomplish, how much barakah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him in 2.5 years. Now I don't have time in the 20 minutes I've left, when the 15 minutes I've left with you to go over everything Umar bin Abdul Aziz accomplished. I'm going to give you some tidbits of what his accomplishments were, but we want to really focus on what the qualities and what the decisions he personally took, because that's the intent of the khutbah today. What personal decisions we can take to get Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's barakah in our lives, and more importantly, so we can be of benefit to the ummah at large. See, the first thing he did when he became the Khalifa, he, by the way, belonged to a very rich family. He was known to wear perfumes so good and so unique to him that if he passed through a street, hours until he passed through that street, people could recognize that Umar must have passed through the street because of that perfume. That was so unique to him and it was so beautiful. The dresses he wore were so custom. He belonged to a very rich family. But as soon as he took the position of the Khilafah, of the Khalifa of Islam, by the way, at this time, just to give you some context, the Islamic empire was the superpower of the world. Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu had already defeated the Byzantines, the Romans, and the Persians about 50 years ago. So Islam at its peak had touched France in north. In south, all of Africa was conquered. Going east, they were touching China. So Umar bin Abdul Aziz, the Khalifa, was the de facto strongest and the most powerful man on earth at that point, in terms of the reach of Islam. So he was a very powerful man. The first decision he took, he said, now that I've been given the Khilafah, I'm actually going to donate every single personal wealth, everything I have. And by the way, this is not a fatwa to everyone. So I spoke about this khutbah before and someone said that, are you issuing a fatwa that we should donate everything to the Bayt al-Mal? No. We have the fiqh, which is very clear on what we should do and what we shouldn't. But I'm giving you an example of his zuhud, about how disconnected he was from the worldly life. He said, I'm going to donate everything I have. We're talking about mountains worth of gold and silver to the Bayt al-Mal. And then he went to his wife. And he went to his wife and he said, listen, I've donated everything I own to the Bayt al-Mal because I want to be a role model. I do not want the people to think that I'm attached to material possessions. And I encourage you to do the same. If you cannot do the same, because she also belonged to a very wealthy family, then we can part ways. And then, you know what she said? She said that I'm going to do the same. And Ibn Kathir reports that she herself has so much wealth that again, mountains worth of gold and silver was donated to the Bayt al-Mal. And then it was narrated that after, on the very next Eid, because Umar bin Abdul Aziz was now living off the salary of the Khalifa from the Bayt al-Mal. So he was given a monthly stipend or a monthly salary to take care of his expenses. So on the next Eid, Umar's wife comes up to him and she says, listen, Eid is approaching. Our children don't have new clothes. Can you go ahead and take an advance from your salary for next month so that we can buy some new clothes and gifts for our children? So Umar bin Abdul Aziz ashamedly goes to the treasurer who is in charge of the Bayt al-Mal. And he requests the same request. He's like, listen, can I get some of my salary, which I have, you're going to pay me next month. Can I get that in advance so I can go and buy some clothes for my children for Eid? So the treasurer responds and says, and this is the justice I want you to, start thinking about. He responds and he says, can you guarantee me that you're going to live for a month? Can you guarantee me that you're going to live for a month? That you're going to be able to pay back your debt to the treasurer? He's a Khalifa, right? And Umar bin Abdul Aziz says no. So he ashamedly walks back to his wife and his kids. And he tells them that I was not able to get my salary in advance and I cannot buy you any new clothes. So you know what his oldest son Abdul Malik ibn Umar ibn Abdul Aziz says, he responds, and for the youth, just listen to this. He says, "Oh Father, don't apologize. Today is one of the happiest days of our life. Never have we been able to hold our heads up as high as today. Today we will let the world know that our father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, will never take a dirham that is not his right. Our father only provides to us with halal money." Remember that story before the end, inshallah, we'll share some lessons. Long story short, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, of course, led by example personally, but he brought back about a lot of reforms. Again, pages and pages can be written, but I'm going to share a couple. As soon as he took the Khilafah, there was a practice during his Khilafah about unjust taxes to new Muslims, especially those new Muslims who are not Arabs. They had a Mawali tax on them, and anyways, there was a lot of oppression, as I said, and a lot of corruption in the Umayyad dynasty at that time, so he abolished them completely. He abolished all these unjust taxes to encourage the growth of Islam, even at the expense of the decline in the revenue of the Bayt al-Mal. In just 2.5 years, he was able to accomplish a state where the Bayt al-Mal had enough reserves, but there was no one who was reaching out to Umar ibn Abdul Aziz or the treasurer for zakah. The Bayt al-Mal had enough money, but there was no one worthy of being of a poor person, a miskeen, an orphan, the 8 categories of zakah. No one was within those 8 categories of zakah to come and approach the Bayt al-Mal and say, "Listen, I need some money to survive." That was the state Umar ibn Abdul Aziz brought of Muslims. Of course, he built a lot of canals to encourage agriculture. He brought economic reforms, so on and so forth. But I want to share you a story near the end of his life. You see, in present-day Uzbekistan, there is an area called Samarkand, which produced the likes of the scholarship of Imam Muhammad al-Bukhari from Samarkand, right? The greatest collector of hadith, one of the Sahih Sitta, Sahih al-Bukhari. Muhammad bin Bukhari, or Imam al-Bukhari, he was born in Samarkand. Do you know how Samarkand was conquered? There was a great Islamic Muslim commander. His name was Qutayba ibn Muslim, who was alive during the same time. He was a military commander during the time of Umar bin Abdul Aziz. He was known as one of the mightiest commanders of Islam. Of course, after Khalid bin Walid, radiallahu anh, he was taking the Muslim empire, further and further and further. And by the time he got to Uzbekistan, Samarkand, back then it was just Samarkand, his advisors advised him to listen, the Samarkand people are strong warriors. Because leading up to Samarkand, we have lost a lot of our Muslim warriors because all these people up in that area are very strong warriors and they're going to kill more of ours than we will kill theirs. So his advisors advised Qutayba ibn Muslim to listen, let's just do an ambush. Let's not give them a letter that we're approaching them. Let's not give them a chance to fight us. Let's just do an overnight ambush to preserve our lives. The practice of the Muslim expansion was that they would always write a letter to the rulers of the territory they were approaching, and they would give them 3 options. They would give them da'wah to Islam and ask them to accept Islam. If they did not choose to do that, then they would say, let us give da'wah to the people, to your people, so we can give, we're not going to fight you. You're going to live under Muslim rule, but you can keep your practices, but we need to be able to, portray Islam to your people. If you're not going to let us do that, then we're going to fight you. These were the 3 options which were given. When it came to Samarkand, because of his advisors, Qutayba ibn Muslim decided, okay, khalas, I'm going to listen to my advisors and we're going to do an overnight ambush. So they went ahead and they entered Samarkand with their army overnight, and they were not prepared. So they just conquered Samarkand without giving them a warning. The priest and the elites of Samarkand at that time, they left, they ran away, and they hid in the mountains. And they knew that what Qutayba did was against the Islamic rituals. This was against the practice of Muslims. Again, we're just summarizing the story here. There's a lot of beauty, depth in this, inshallah, for some other day. So they sent a messenger all the way to Syria, Damascus, to meet Umar ibn Abdul Aziz and tell him how Qutayba entered Samarkand. So the messenger goes all the way to Syria, Damascus, goes to the great masjid in Damascus. He looks at the masjid from outside. He thinks this must be the palace of the Khalifa. So he thinks he's going to find the Khalifa inside this masjid, which he thought was the palace. So he goes in there. He's asking for the Khalifa. They're like, this is the masjid. This is where we pray. If you want to meet the Khalifa, you have to go to his home. This is the direction. He goes to his home. He looks for it. He can't find another big, beautiful palace like that. He's asking people, where does your Khalifa live? And they said, that's the Khalifa's house, and that's him working. He's patching his road. The Khalifa, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, the most powerful man on earth at that time, was patching his driveway, walkway, as we say right now. So the dialogue between that messenger and the people was very, again, very powerful. Anyway, so he goes to the Khalifa eventually. He says, listen, I'm a messenger from the Samarkand. Qutayba ibn Muslim, he came and he ambushed us overnight. He did not give us a warning. He did not let us prepare. What do you have to say about this? Umar ibn Abdul Aziz immediately wrote a letter to the governor of Samarkand, and he said, appoint a court between the Qutayba and the elites, the priests of Samarkand. He takes that letter, goes back all the way to Samarkand, gives it to the governor. This messenger is thinking that he's going to get assassinated because he is now rebelling against the owner, the new conquerors of the area. The governor reads the letter, sees the seal of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, and immediately calls a court. Now, just to give you context, the books say that the governor himself was very afraid. He was like, Qutayba ibn Muslim is the most noble of commanders of the Muslims. He's brought so much honor, and I have to call for a court to judge between Qutayba ibn Muslim and these people we've already conquered. But anyways, he goes ahead and follows the command of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. He calls the court. The court hears both sides of the story. Immediately, Qutayba ibn Muslim accepts that, listen, I did not give them a letter. I went with the advice of my advisors, and we did ambush them. So the judge, he rules against the Muslims, and he says, because we entered Samarkand unjustly, all of the Muslims who are already in there and have stationed in Samarkand are going to exit Samarkand. They're going to write a letter to the people of Samarkand, and then they're going to re-enter Samarkand based on the options they choose. As soon as that judgment was passed, the elite, the priest, everyone in Samarkand were astonished. They're like, what is this? What are these people? They follow their rules and rituals and their regulations to the dot. They're so honorable and just people. Because they thought that the most they were going to get was some sort of a penalty, like a compensation for the troubles which were caused. But instead, the judge is saying that we're all going to leave and we're going to re-enter Samarkand the right way, the way the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ has taught us. So as soon as they leave, they write a letter to the people of Samarkand, and they get a reply from the people of Samarkand, and they say that every single person in Samarkand had accepted Islam because of the justice and honor and the true nature of Islam which you have shown. Inshallah, in the second khutbah, we're going to take some lessons from this. Subhanallah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه الغفور الرحيم. استغفر الله. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. When I give this khutbah, some people ask, why are you giving us the lessons of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz? What is the relevance here? What can we do to bring about the Khilafah and just rulers ahead of us? Let's start with the basics. Let's start with what's in our control. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يغيروا ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I'm not going to change the affairs of a nation, a qawm, until they decide to change themselves. So of course, I'm not saying here that one of us is going to become the next Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, which is possible. But for now, we can become just rulers with the kingdom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with. For example, the husbands can become just husbands in their homes, just fathers in their homes. The entrepreneurs can become just role models of Muslims in their businesses. The lecturers, the professors, the people of leadership can become just role models of Muslims in the capacity Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them. Why are we thinking about the Khilafah before we have corrected ourselves? Because the promise of Allah is, I'm not going to change the affairs of the people until they change themselves. So we need to start focusing on changing ourselves and becoming role models for our children. As parents, we have to become righteous people. The reason Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was so proud of the fact, the son of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was so proud of the fact that Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was not able to extract salary was because of the values the couple had instilled in their children. The apple does not fall far from the tree. We need to make sure that we're good role models our children are looking up to. They're saying that my dad and my mother are honorable people. They're truthful people. They are helpful people. They're good Muslims. We're going to attract them toward Islam by our characteristics. So let's become parents who are good role models for our kids and for the children in this masjid. Wallahi, no one is going to love you more than your parents. There is no one in this world, other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, who can love you more than your parents. If your parents are parents who are providing for you with halal rizq, and they're taking care of you, kiss their hands and thank them daily. This is a blessing you're being oblivious to. Your parents are working hard. They're going in, they're doing their personal struggles outside of the masjid to provide for you in this day and age that is very hard, wallahi. Be supporting hands to them. Do not come and ask them for this relentless list of demands. I need my next Xbox. I need my next PS. I need my next shoes. I need my next purse. Why? These are things you need to get out of. You need to get out of this, and your vision needs to be that I want to be the next Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. I want to be the next Khalid ibn Walid. I want to be the next Zubair ibn Awam. I want to be the next successful Muslim person in the future, so I can get those who are struggling outside of the masjid towards Islam. I can become the person who becomes the ingredient who is, who can bring about a reform outside of the masjid. There are so many people who need your help, my ikhwan, my young brothers and sisters. Have your vision, expand your vision. Do not get lost in these materialistic possessions of this world. Lastly, the example which has been set by our brothers and sisters, the young brothers and sisters in Bangladesh. There is so much we can take away from this, but just in a minute, for our youth, our youth has not made us this proud ever in the last few decades than what the brothers and sisters, the young brothers and sisters in Bangladesh have done. They have set aside all their differences. The Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, the secularists, the elitists, the liberalists, they set aside all their differences and they marched peacefully. They marched peacefully, and wallahi, they did not even think. You asked them 2 weeks ago, did you think that this was the result you were going to be able to accomplish? They said, this is a miracle of Allah. We were just fighting for our rights. We were fighting against the corrupt quota-based system, which was not being practiced properly. But it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help from the ghaib, which, because they were on their true path and they marched, they moved, the youth moved, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them and gave them victories which even they could not imagine. We congratulate our brothers and sisters in Bangladesh, and we make dua that they're blessed with righteous leadership which can be a role model for the rest of the ummah. But we have lessons. We, the collective here, the ummah outside of Bangladesh, we need to unite. Set aside our differences and we need to march. We need to move. 300 days of genocide has been happening in Palestine. There is a national protest happening in Ottawa tomorrow. How many of us are going there? Answer this question for yourself. When are we going to start moving like our brothers and sisters, the young brothers and sisters in Bangladesh moved, so that we can get the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because Allah promises steadfastness to those who struggle in His way. There's many ayats in the Quran about that. Let's become of those people who move for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that guides me and you towards the straight path. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes our future progeny better than us. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He makes us among those people He is happy with and content with. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He motivates us and guides us towards doing that which is towards the betterment of the ummah. ربنا هب لنا من ازواجنا وذرياتنا قرة اعين واجعلنا للمتقين اماما رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تؤاخذنا ان نسينا او اخطانا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا اصرا كما حملته الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقه لنا به واعف عنا يا عفو واغفر لنا يا غفار وارحمنا يا رحمن أنت مولانا يا رب أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين في كل مكان يا رب اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين في فلسطين يا رب اللهم انصر المجاهدين في غزة يا رب في السودان في الكشمير في كل مكان يا رب يا الله انصرهم وثبت أقدامهم واصبرهم يا رب سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Brothers in the gym, please make sure you fill the space in the musalla first, especially towards the left of the musalla. Jazakallah khair. Brother Asim, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Don't leave any space in front of you. Pray as if this is your last prayer. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. اللهم صل وسلم. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي. سبحان ربي. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي. سبحان ربي. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. اللهم بارك على سيدنا كما باركت على سيدنا اللهم إني السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Are you going to read this or you want me to read this? Announcements. Every Sunday right after Maghrib Halaqa at Al-Falah Islamic Center, there's a Halaqa by Dr. Nazir Khan, so please attend this with your family. There's a family Halaqa tonight at Al-Falah Islamic Center. The topic is Nation Builders, Stories of the Prophets, and the speaker Sheikh Riyad Urzazi. Number 3, please do not park any car in the golf area across the street. They have complained about this to Al-Falah Islamic Center. And lastly, ICNA relief members are here to do a bake sale, so please buy as much as possible to support their humanitarian efforts. Jazakallah khair.